this yoga foundation class, we're going to talk a little bit about history of yoga, how the class gets organized according to the Ashtanga yoga tradition, and then we're going to practice triangle pose and side angle stretch pose. Put an intention for this class today. And open your eyes. Namaste. Bring your hands together. Namaste. Welcome to the class. So, yoga, it's a type of physical activity that has been put together in order to work out the whole body. Yoga is a science and it's a sister science to Ayurveda. However, Ayurveda is a much, much older science than yoga is. And I find out recently that the actual structuring of yoga, the way that we know it today, is not even 100 years old. So it's something that is like a language that keeps evolving and keeps getting passed on. And because of that, you can make it your own. You know, as when you learn a language, you will have certain ways of understanding how things fit together, and then you put phrases together and you can communicate. In yoga as well, you will be able to learn how to put the different pieces of the puzzle together to communicate with your body and your mind and find this union. Yoga means union between body, mind, and spirit. So the Ashtanga tradition, which is the one that I trained on, is quite a strong practice. And you would have seen, if you have been to my yoga flows, that we use a lot of upper body strength and a lot of strengthening of the core muscles and the legs, etc. This was created to train men in the military, which means that perhaps for some of us, it's not the right thing to do. I love Ashtanga yoga. I love the flow. I love the strength. I feel that it suits my personality. However, it doesn't always suit my body. And when that happens, you can get injuries. So the objective of this course is to give you an overview and allow you to understand what you're doing when and why, and do it the way that is right for you. So in a yoga practice, you would have seen that you have an introduction of some maybe warm-ups and some stretches, or you might go straight into Surya Namaskar A and B. Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation B are a full body warm-up. But if you haven't warmed up before, you should go into it gently and with care. Then after the sun salutations, you will have standing postures, all of the warrior postures, all of the triangles, side stretch, all of that stuff. Then you will follow with floor postures, seated postures, inversions, and then Shavasana. That is in a very quick outlook what you're doing. On each of these parts, you might have different asanas that you practice. A full series A, or first series of Ashtanga yoga class, will last about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So you don't always have the chance to do everything in one class. So in my classes, I choose the focus. You know, sometimes it's hips, sometimes it's legs, sometimes it's shoulders, sometimes we work with the chakras, sometimes we work with the different bodies, you know, the physical body, the breath body, the emotional body, the mental body, or the soul. And all of those things are part of the richness of yoga. Not only you have that, the energetics, you also have the tradition, the mythology that a lot of the poses come from. Virabhadrasana, the warrior pose, come from a story within the Mahabharata. So at some point I might be able to tell you, but the summary of the story is that somebody makes somebody else very, very angry, and it was Shiva. And he took a piece of hair, put it on the floor, tread on it, and from it came the warrior. So the Indian mythology doesn't really have a linear type of structure like the Western ones. They go around and not always have a ta-da at the end. So you'll have to get used to that. So within the practice, we also have breathing, and the breathing is essential. As long as you're breathing rhythmically and constantly, you're doing your yoga correctly. If your breath is compromised, if you're holding your breath, then you are not doing yoga correctly. And this is one of the most fundamental parts of your practice. And when I'm teaching in person, I am able to listen to my students. Many of you that have been in my live lessons, you might remember me going around and putting my ear next to you and listening. It's almost like I'm trying to be part of your breath. But when we are doing it online, I cannot have that luxury. So I want you to get very well acquainted with your breath and with the rhythm of that breath. Asana. Anyone knows what asana means? No. Okay. So asana means sit. A yoga asana is what we do. All of the different positions that we do are called yoga asanas. So asana is a seat, and a seat needs to be comfortable. So you are sitting on your posture. You are arriving into it and staying into it peacefully, not like trying to stretch. The other thing that is very important on yoga asanas is the drishti, which is the focus of the eyes, the position of the hands. When we are doing the side stretch, I will ask you to have your palm facing out and the hand over the head. Now, having your hands with your fingers together will help you to keep the attention on the stretch of, on the direction and the stretch of the posture. If your fingers are open, you can try it, and you will see that your mind might fluctuate. Now, all of these things are quite subtle. You might not be able to realize what everything, single part of your practice is showing you. And don't worry about it. But try and get into the postures and try to also use your visualization. In yoga, we use visualization to arrive to the posture before you arrive to the posture. So if I say Utthita Trikonasana, which means extended triangle pose, you already can think in your mind what that might look like. And you might not know. So I will show you some nice skeleton picture. That is Utthita Trikonasana. So it is extended side angle pose. As you can see, the arms are aligned with each other, the legs are quite wide apart, and the traditional pose is with the head looking up towards the ceiling. Now, I normally invite people to look to horizon, because looking up towards the ceiling is not always comfortable for the neck. And this is also something that you can get to understand as you do it. So once you know the posture, the name, and the shape, you can imagine it. And once you imagine it, you can do it better. if you have been to any of my restorative classes, when I announce that we're going to come out of the posture, I also invite you to think about how you're going to come out of the posture. A very, very classical thing that happens is that people come out of postures, they're in Shavasana, and I said, well, wiggle toes and fingers and come up, and they do this. And they might have enough belly strength to do it, abdominal strength, but doing that is enormously difficult for the body. A much kinder way of doing it is knees to chest, legs to the side, and pushing up. All of those things are things that you're going to learn and assimilate to your practice so that you do the right thing for yourselves. So with that said, just close your eyes for a moment. And inhale and exhale. Breathe. And digest.